Last time we were here, we had just added this discussion forum after we had added a label. Something to be really aware of is this is your navigation is over here as well. So if I want to change topic 1 to module 1 on water, I can change it here, and then eventually it is going to change over here. So we'll come back to that so you can see what happens there. So then we were going to add an assignment just to show you the assignment, okay? So when you add a forum, again, you get that editor. So you have, the key here to understand is you have multiple ways you can start to represent assignments. But when you have those multiple ways, you have to be cautious that you stay within what you start with and you keep the same method of doing things over and over and over again repeated. And if you don't, you give thorough instructions on step by step on this is how I want you to do this. And that way you have students not getting confused, not getting frustrated, and the learning is there. And again, being available using a question form or something like that, so that if they have a question, you can get back to them as quickly as possible. Okay, so if we go to add an assignment here, you're gonna notice the same exact layout as before. So here's our assignment on, and what you could do is say, since this is an assignment, you could say assignment reading turn-in. Okay. Now you can put the description in. You can add additional files. Here's all the pertinent information of how you could do it. You can like the due date, when's the cutoff date, so they could hand it in late. Remind me to grade, so it will tell you when you need to grade it so you don't forget. You can choose submission type, like if you want them to put online text, you can. If you want it to have a word limit, you can do that. You can have a limit to how many files they can upload, how many megabytes that is, and when you go into activity completion, you'll see you have similar things that if you say mark as complete, the student must view the activity, the student must submit this activity, okay? And you can restrict access to it and all the other stuff that goes along with it. You can say what type of grading it is if you're grading in here. And we're going to skip that grading part for now. We can come back to that in a much later course. But that's the idea. And then what we do is we would just put help answer this question, say something, and then save and return to course. I'll show you what it looks like. So when you have an assignment, it looks like this. And remember, we turned on online text. So if we go into it, it says no one's gone into it yet, and it says view all submissions. Okay, if we want to look at this like it was a student version, so you would see add a submission, okay, as a student. And so they now know they have to add a submission. The nice thing about this changing over to student roles, something you want to be aware of so that you can give instructions for students on how to do things. Like if you want to know how it's going to look to them, you can just quickly switch to looking at what a student sees. And so now they get the text editor too. So if you wanted them to upload video or link to videos and talk about stuff, they can do the exact same things you can. They have all that power. It will take some training to get the students to do all of it, but you have that capability, very flexible. And then down here we have where they can attach files. So here, if they have Google Docs they want to attach, they could attach the link, and then you can get into it from that link, and you would just pop in and out that way. Okay, so that's the assignment. Now, if we leave the assignment, I'm going to return to my normal role. Okay. It's going to give you an error because you were in an assignment in a different way and kicks me completely out of the class. It's okay. Right? So now we are in here. Notice how we changed module to water, so it's working fine. The quiz module is really robust. You have to make it first, and we'll call this quiz 1 and try to get into it. And you can see all the fun stuff that you can have. Here's the description of it, which you could put videos there. You could say, hello, watch this video, and answer the following. And it could be a quiz. You can put a time frame in. You can make a time limit for the quiz as well. So if you only want them to take so long, that's perfectly fine too. You can make them take it multiple times. You can change the layout if you want, new page for every questions, or never all questions on one page. It's however you want. Most people tend to want to have page breaks in questions, but it's up to you. You can do question behaviors as well and give them feedback, shuffle answer. So there's a lot of little pieces here, and this is just making the quiz, right? So then what you have to do is once you make it, now you have to edit the quiz and you have to build it, okay? So how this works is, here is the add. You want to add a new question, and you have all these questions to choose from. Okay, so you have a lot of capability in choosing different questions to assess what students know and what they don't know. And it's really important that you remember, again, a good practice is you want to be present for your students. You want to be consistent and very thorough in explaining things and how to do things. And then also you want to assess often. And another thing that you're going to hear me start to say is you want to chunk it. So you want to give them a chunk of information, not everything that you normally might do in a class, but give them a chunk, assess did they get it. Okay, if they didn't get it, you have to have some remediation type activities and then assess again. And those remediation type activities could be like extra references and say, hey, go into the references, look in X, Y, and Z, and then come back and take the quiz again. So that's what you could do with quiz. And again, quiz is very robust, so it's beyond the scope of this course for now. But if you want to get into it, I encourage you to get into it, and I'll leave some documentation in the references. All right, there we are. See you later.